1 of the Nicole Stitches podcast. I am a left-handed crocheter, knitter, and general crafter coming to you from Northern Virginia, where I work and live with my fiance and our cat, Webster. You can keep up with me on Instagram at NicoleSP Designs, on Ravelry as she writes things, on Pinterest at NSP Designs, and in my shop where I make and sell handmade project bags, notions pouches, and other fiber accessories, as well as original crochet pattern designs. There's also a Ravelry group for the podcast, and you can go there to find a get to know us thread where you can introduce yourself to the group, an ask me anything thread where you can ask me anything, questions I'll answer in future videos. You can find the finished object and chatter threads for the NSP Comfy Crochet Cal, and you can find the monthly pattern giveaway thread, which you can enter to potentially win a pattern of your choice that I worked on in the preceding month. While I'm talking about giveaways, the absolutely magical Tristan of Dragonhorde Yarn Co. and the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast has offered very nicely to donate a couple of patterns to the podcast for a giveaway. So that will be coming up. I haven't fully decided yet how I want to run that giveaway. I think I'm going to kind of lump it in with the monthly pattern giveaway that I do, but I want to think a little bit more about how I want to do that. So I'm kind of giving you a heads up now, but this is not an official giveaway announcement. I will have my act together on that, I think, next week. So if you're interested in that, she makes awesome patterns. She's released the Spellman sweater, the Spellbound sweater, the Saturday morning sweater, I think it's called. She's releasing one the day that this podcast goes up, Friday. She's releasing the Half Moon tee, which is really cute. She's got a lot of great patterns, and she very nicely offered to do that for me. So I'm going to figure out how I want to run that for y'all, and I'll keep you posted. Yeah, so tune in to see where I land on that one. I don't want to announce it and then realize that that's not a good way to do it or something, and so I'm going to think about it a little more, and then I'll let you know. So that's coming as well. If you're a new viewer, thanks for giving me a chance, tuning in and seeing what we're all about here. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back. I think that is all the admin stuff out of the way, and I'm just gonna get started. This is a lunchtime recording session. Once again, not my usual itinerary, not my favorite plan, but we're gonna get by. I have, a finished object to re-show you. I have lots of progress on several things, and yeah, we're gonna get rolling, I think, as quickly as possible. So I am wearing my second Soldotna. I finished this like a week and a half ago, I think, and last week I had it finished and I showed you pictures, but it was blocking, so I was not able to wear it to show it off to you, and I am wearing it now. So here is my second Soldotna. I love her a lot. Let me try and sit up here so you can see the full effect. Comes a little bit longer than my other Soldotna does, and I've done a different flea stitch on the body than what the pattern says. If you look here, the pattern says that you are to do for each flea stitch, it should be both colors stacked. I just did one row of one color, and then the next time the flea stitch came up in the chart, I did the other color. I started out the way that it's charted. I didn't like that look. I thought it was a little bit too much, so I decided to do this, and I like it a lot better. And that is my second Soldotna. I'm wearing it to share with you today, and I'm really excited about it. So that is my kind of the retelling of the finished object story of the Soldotna. I also blogged my Soldotna knitting process, and that is a new post on the blog this week. You can see yarn details there for both of my sweaters, pictures of both sweaters off of me and also modeled, and just kind of get the details there. And now I'm going to get into works in progress. I have 2 active works in progress that I got stitching on this week, I guess you'd say. Clearly, I'm not vocally or verbally prepared to be recording yet. First, I'm going to show you the Baby Spotlight number 1 that I am knitting. If you remember from last episode, or if you're new, I'll explain it again really quick. The Spotlight sweater is a pattern by TinCanKnits, and TinCanKnits writes their patterns such that you can make it for pretty much any size. They have a really, really wide, inclusive size range that covers Webster. it covers everything from newborn to a very nicely inclusive range of adult sizes. And I knit myself a spotlight sweater last year, kind of in the middle of the summer, I think. And I am now knitting 2 baby spotlights. These are for the nieces of my best friend, Rachel. They are twin girls, and she asked me if I would knit them some sweaters. So they're going to get sweaters that are the same pattern but different colors. And this is the first one. I'm basically doing a spotlight in cool colors and a spotlight in warm colors. So what I have now are 2 sleeves all done. We've got, this is Swish, KnitPicks Swish worsted yarn. This is Marble Heather. This is actually the same gray that I used for my spotlight. So 1 sleeve, 2 sleeve, all done. And this is a bottom-up sweater, so you knit the sleeves separately, and then you knit the body, and then you put them all together. And I've got the body happening here. So let me try and find the back for you. So here we are on the body. The back has some short row shaping on it, which is what's happening back here. That's why it's pouching out a little bit. And this is the body so far. So I just have to knit this for a few more inches, and then I can get started attaching the sleeves, and I'll get to the yoke. That is one great reason why baby sweaters are awesome. It's because they don't take very long. And the yoke colors, so the spotlight has a colorwork yoke. It's 3 rows of arrows that are they decrease in size as they go up, and these are the colors that I will be using on this sweater. So I think that I'm going to go in this order. I'm pretty sure, unless Rachel would like me to go in a different order. Hey Rach, let me know what you think if you have objections to that color order. But the gray again is Marble Heather, and then I'm using Peapod, Gulfstream. This is obviously, I used a little bit of this for something else, and then I frogged and wound it back up. And Electric Blue. I don't remember if I mentioned this already or not, but I'm knitting the 1 to 2 year old size from this pattern. And this project is living in my Kitties and Donuts project bag. I still have one of these in the shop, I think. I'm pretty sure. And the other project that I worked on this week, brace yourselves, is my wedding shawl. Oh, this has been a journey. My wedding shawl has been in process, frogged, started and frogged again. It's gone through an identity crisis. I didn't know what it was going to be. And now we're here, we're underway. And this far in, I'm not changing it. So my wedding shawl is the First Bloom shawl by Sylvia McFadden. And I am knitting this in KnitPicks Bare Aristo, which is a lace weight yarn. And I am using 2 strands held double to basically make a fingering weight. I'm trying to find the yarn tag because I never remember the fiber content, and I always lie about what it is. It is Hi Webster, 70% merino, 15% cashmere, and 15% mulberry silk. So that is what Aristo is. I have been very inattentive to this shawl for a while. I got distracted with sweaters, really. I just got really excited about sweaters. I wanted to make the Tenya for engagement photos, and then I made the Soldotna, and then I loved it a lot, so I made the Soldotna again. And I've just been neglecting pretty much any knitting that wasn't sweater knitting, because I think that I just am a sweater knitter. That's what I most enjoy doing. But we took a little trip this past weekend because that's what we do, and I wanted to get this shawl going. What's up, baby? I wanted to get this shawl going. So I brought this and I brought the baby spotlight with me, but I didn't work on the baby spotlight at all. I decided that I was going to focus on this and this alone. And so here's what I have to show you. Let me find my progress keeper so that I can show you where I was. So this is where I was last week. Not very high up from the bottom, as you can see, maybe like 3 inches. And here is where I am now. That's pretty good. So there you go. Now you can see a better indicator of progress. So this is the back side and this is the front. It does have a discernible front and back side. Now I will say, there you go. You can get a good look at the how the stitch pattern is supposed to be. I will say, this pattern is both charted and written, and you are working a series of charts. There's like charts A through H, I think. You are supposed to be working this on size 8 needles. I am not. I sized down 2 needle sizes. I had started it on the 8s as the pattern says, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how the stitches were kind of messy looking, because with such a fine yarn on bigger needles, that can tend to happen. Especially this garter section here, it looked really messy, and the holes here were huge, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I sized down 2 needle sizes, and I'm working it on 6s. These are my ChowGoo. You can see the red cable. These are my ChowGoo fixed circular needles in size 6. However, this means that I am drawing near to the last chart, and this is not shawl size. I mean, maybe, no, I don't even think this could be construed as a shawlette. If I pulled it off and blocked it, maybe it could be a shawlette, but no, it's not as big as I want it to be. So, I mean, obviously, first of all, I didn't check my gauge on the smaller needles because I don't check gauge unless I have to. But also, it's almost certainly not the correct gauge, which is why I'm going to run out of charts before I'm done with this. So what I'm going to do is some math. I have looked at so I'm not following the charts at all because I can follow colorwork charts. Lace charts still boggle my mind. They are beyond me currently. I'm following the written instructions. I have begun, as I'm knitting through the written instructions for each section, I've begun to pay really close attention to how the rows within a particular pattern match up to the previous, and how it pans out in terms of how this works up to figure out how I can keep going after I run out of pattern written charts, if that makes sense. And it looks like there is some type of wizardry. I'm going to carefully read them a couple more times just to make totally sure that I understand what is happening. But I'm pretty sure that I do, and I'm pretty sure that I can just keep going. I'm trying to make sure that it follows the pattern, and that it's also just a size that's going to actually keep my arms warm. So, you know, I'll let you know how that works out. If I end up being able to really just continue this pattern that's been established and all is well, or if I need to, like, improvise. We'll see. I'm casually, cautiously optimistic that I can just keep following the sequence that's written. Based on my kind of first pass at closely reading the pattern, I'm hopeful that it'll just be fine. And that's really what I've been working on since last week. These 2 things, actually primarily the wedding shawl, got most of my attention, I would say, which was good. That needs to be the case. I need to finish it. I'd like to finish it well before, I think I'd like to finish it really before summer ends, because that way I can take the last like 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding to focus on all of the other stuff that needs to be done. And, you know, my little knitting project will be finished and I won't have to worry about it. So I'm trying to really make sure that it gets my focus. But the nice thing about the Spotlight sweater is that, I mean, at this point, I am just doing my favorite thing, which is knitting tubes of stockinette. And that's really handy for car rides, like short car rides, or if I'm on the phone talking to someone and I just want to keep my hands busy so I can focus, but I can't focus on the knitting because I'm talking on the phone. That's where just good old stockinette comes in handy. So that's what I'm doing this for. And I'm trying to give the wedding shawl the bulk of my attention. Yeah, and that is my whole update this week. So that said, I'm going to try and pull up my laptop real quick so that we can do a new in my queue segment. While I do that though, I'm going to talk to you about that, because I decided this week to make a little bit of a change to how I'm handling new in my queue. So there's been a great conversation going on Knitting Instagram right now about the range of patterns, range of sizes that patterns are available in. Knitters are pushing for more inclusive size ranges in the patterns that are available to us, because there are a good number of patterns that either are not graded for an inclusive range of body shapes and sizes, or they are graded, but they're not graded well. Like someone just kind of multiplied existing numbers rather than realizing that for larger body shapes, things are distributed differently, and so increases and decreases aren't going to work in the same places as for other body shapes, and it's not going to look good. It's going to look ridiculous. You can't just, like add numbers and then hope it's fine. There's also an Instagram account called FattestNips that is, as the name suggests, a pool of test knitters who want those bigger sizes, who are those bigger sizes, and who are willing to test knit for you if you grade to the higher end of the size range spectrum. So, some designers in this who have kind of been called out a little bit in this discussion because they don't offer an inclusive size range, they've said, well, I can't get testers. And basically the moral of the story is, yeah, you can. You just have to ask for them and look for them. And FattestNips is like the place, basically. It's a great resource. So that's an Instagram account. If I hadn't put the name on the screen already, I will do that now. So I decided, I'd started this new in my Q segment so that I could share patterns and designers with y'all, and get the word out about things that I'm liking, share designers who I think could use more exposure, that type of thing. And while this pattern inclusivity discussion is taking place, I need to factor that in to my consideration of bringing these people to the spotlight. That is, I figured, was going to be the best thing that I could do to help with this. I am fortunate in that, I've mentioned before that I have my own concerns with pattern sizing when I choose my size, and when I knit things like cropped sweaters, I have to be careful because I am short. I'm only 5'2", so I'm petite. I have a very high waist. I have wider hips and a wider bust. I'm basically like an hourglass, like a literal hourglass figure with a high waist, and I'm short. So things can make me look stumpy, and I'm a little bit, I've got some squish, I'm not a stick. So I have to be careful, but even so, I'm fortunate in that my size has been in every sweater pattern that I've seen and every sweater pattern that I've wanted to knit. But I know that that's not the experience for a lot of knitters, and that is not great. So what I'm very slowly getting to is that from now on in my Q segment, if I'm going to show you a garment, I am going to first tell you the size range that it comes in. If I don't list every single, I'm probably not going to list every single size, but I'll tell you, it runs extra small to 7X, and that is a this bust measurement to that bust measurement, that kind of thing. Or really what I'd like to work toward is including only garment patterns that already have an inclusive size range, but I also want to be, I want to be honest in what's going on my queue and what I'm interested in knitting and what I'm going to be knitting. But, pattern designers, why aren't you making patterns for these people? Really? Because the content's out there, obviously, because other people are doing it. And the knitters are out there. So, what's the problem? I have 5 patterns for you this week, and they are all garments, and I'm going to tell you the size range available for each one as I talk about it. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Chonita pattern by Justyna Lorkowska, also known as Leets Knits. I knit a pattern by her last year. It was the Cozumel cowl. It had some mosaic knitting in it of little triangle pyramid type patterns. That was a sample knit that I did for Copper Corgi Yarns, so I didn't keep it. It was a sample knit for her, so I sent it back, but you can look back in my podcast episodes and find it if you're interested in seeing that, or you can check out the Leets Knits pattern store on Ravelry. I will be linking this pattern so you can get to it through there. You know how it works. The size range for this is listed as extra small through 5XL, and that fits finished bust measurements of, let me see, of 32 to 64.75 inches. So it looks like the 32-inch bust is the extra small, and the 64.75-inch is the 5X, and the pattern notes say that this is supposed to be worn with 5 to 10 centimeters or 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. Next, and that's a new release, by the way. So there is a discount on it right now. I'm not sure if it will still be by the time that I put this up or by the time that you go visit it, but at this current moment, there's a discount on it for a new release. I have another new release for you in my second one. This is the Comfort Zone Tank by Tiff Neilan. I have shown you a couple, I think, of her patterns before. The Wanderer pullover and the Tide Break tee. I think I've shown you both of those in previous New in My Queue episodes. This one is another kind of sleeveless. She calls it sleeveless, but it looks like it's really got kind of a cap sleeve situation. Kind of like this length, maybe a little bit shorter, like maybe that big. The Comfort Zone Tank, and this one comes in sizes adult extra small, which she says is a 32-inch chest, to a 3X, which is a 58.75-inch chest, and it is meant to fit with 1 to 4 inches of positive ease. Next is the Julie twist pattern. This one is a V-neck tee with a lace detail around the V-neck and then going down the front. And this one's really, really pretty. This one is by Kate Oates. I have a few of her patterns. She designed the sweater shirt, which was on my 2019 Make 9. Still pretty high up on my to make list, just haven't gotten to it yet. But and the Just Nicole sweater, which is not on my Make 9. I just think it's really pretty. Not at all influenced by the name, but that one I think I'd like to make sooner rather than later as well. She has some beautiful patterns. This is another new release. It is comes in a extra small to a 5X. That is a finished chest of 32.75 to 60.25 inches, and it is meant to fit with... Okay, she says, I suggest choosing the size that is closest to your bust measurement, even if it means a slight bit of negative ease. She says it is sized to fit closely at the chest and shoulders and flow with generous ease at the hips. It also looks like the sleeves themselves. It says that it can be cap sleeve or bracelet sleeve. Bracelet length, I believe, is like to here on a person, right? That's what that is, I think. But the cap sleeve is the only one that I see modeled in like the official pattern photos, and it looks like it's a fluttery sleeve. So if you're worried about picking very close to your bust measurement because that might give you a tight sleeve, it looks like you shouldn't have that problem because the sleeve is more flowy. Next is the Pocket Tee by Amy Miller. This is another new release, and I believe it has a discount code on it that is 25% off through Friday, June 14th. That would be the day that this is supposed to go up. So sorry for the late notice, but hopefully you catch my podcast on the day it goes up, because why would you wait? And you can take advantage of the discount. I really like Amy Miller patterns. I have a whole bunch of them. I knit her hot cider hat last winter at the end of 2018. It was really cute. I have a bunch of other patterns from her in my library. I really enjoy her designs. And this one is no different. This looks like my ideal late summer, fall, winter, spring, all the seasons is what I just said. This one is listed as coming in 31 3/4 inch bust on the small end, and then 53 3/4 inch bust on the high end. And it is modeled in these pictures. The model has 3 to 4 inches of ease. This one builds off of a pattern that I've already shown you by the same designer. I actually mentioned it when I mentioned the other pattern, and I referred you to this one if you were interested, but this is the Ursa Minor by Jacqueline. I'm gonna say Cieslak. I'm real sorry if I said that wrong. And this one, I showed you the Ursa already, which is a bulky sweater, and this one is this one's also bulky. Okay, so before, when I told you about Ursa Minor and I told you it was fingering weight, I was super wrong. Very sorry. Could I have been more wrong about that weight of yarn? No. Anyway, the gist is, this is the sister pattern to the Ursa sweater that I showed you previously. And Jacqueline has been a great participant in these size inclusion conversations, actually, as well as Bad Betty Knits. The two of them are the ones that I have seen the most from on this issue. Lots of people have been talking about it, which is great, but I've seen them kind of being leaders, and Jacqueline has made the Ursa Minor available in a number of sizes from finished bust of, okay, Your finished bust will range from 34 inches to 66 inches, and she recommends adding 2 to 6 inches of ease. And she also gives you some help on the, I'm reading the pattern pages, I'm not looking at you, sorry. She also gives you some help about measuring, choosing your size measurement. This is a really cute sweater. It looks great on her in those modeled photos. I love her. She's adorable and I love her patterns. She also just released a shawl pattern. Loving these patterns so far, and I want to make both the Ursa and the Ursa Minor. So you'll be seeing those from me at some point. And that is everything that I have for you this week. So thanks so much for watching. If you were new, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a return viewer, thank you for coming back. You can keep up with me on any of the social media that I mentioned. You can go to my website to see my shop, see what bags are new there, and read my blog where I'm talking about, I post show notes there for every episode, and I am blogging about what I'm working on. So you can find update posts there, reviews for finished objects, that kind of thing. Visit the Ravelry group. Enter the giveaways, and thanks for watching. Have a great week. I hope you get lots of crafting done, and I'll see you next time. Bye!